Let me know down below. Again, what are your thoughts on the ECM changes? What are your thoughts on the missile bay doors? Did you ever get affected by that or still get affected by it? Hey, what's going on, guys? Phil here with some news for Mechwarrior Online. We've got a patch preview, of course, last Friday, and today we get the patch notes. Obviously, if you missed the video, the first part of the patch notes is pretty much just a reiteration, right? It's basically the HPG changes that we talked about. Really looking forward to it. Obviously, one thing to note, a lot of people are talking about the lack of actual cover in the center, and I've been told by the Cauldron that's actually not the case. There's plenty of cover here. This isn't just going to be direct fire everywhere, and you still have the underground. Keep that in mind. That hasn't gone away. You still have the 4 entrances here to the underneath. There haven't been any pictures, and I don't know, at least public information, if any changes occurred underneath, but I don't believe so. That all being said, obviously this is happening. We also have a huge Quirk Pass 1 happening, and I was just told in chat on stream that this is actually, every mech is going to get a Quirk Pass. So if your mech, your favorite thing isn't here, i.e. stalkers and stuff like that, there is going to be a pass done on those. So this is a huge list. I'm not going to go over it. You need to go through here, check out your specific mechs or whatever you enjoy. It's a huge list. It's just a lot of information. Now, with the patch notes here, what we did get though, is we got some more information about other changes. And that actually comes at the end of the patch notes. And you see here, I have to scroll down. We have a lot of quirk changes. Again, we have some weapon adjustments, and let's go ahead and read. As a continuation of our asset assessment of weapon performance since April, the following change has been made. Clan Large Pulse Laser heat penalty multiplier increased to 4 from 3, and this patch includes an increase to heat penalty mainly done to address the current situation where firing 4 Large Pulse lasers, Clan Large Pulse, are providing to be almost consequence-free when compared to the damage output potential. And of course, I've actually mentioned this, and it's a very difficult thing to balance this game, if we're very honest. But when you guys see a switch from ERPPCs to just basically everybody running Clan a Large Pulse, it's a pretty good indicator that that weapon system is maybe a little bit too much, as far as the balance factor. And to be fair though, it's a difficult thing, and for all of us min-max players, we just naturally gravitate towards works best. But we were doing ERPPCs before this patch, and then all of a sudden this, the Clan Large Pulse have sort of taken over. Also, in a big change that I'd like to highlight here is the ECM change. Basically, they talk about newer players get sort of hosed in this regard because the investment on the skill tree to make a piece of equipment work is too much. So what they've done here is, instead of the 13 nodes getting you X percentage, they've reduced that percentage, and now it just basically adds it back to ECM. So if you're wondering, it's enemy radar range reduction to 50% from 30, and of course the ECM nodes decrease from 12.5 from 22. So basically what it does is it adds that just base stat back to the base piece of equipment without needing any node investment. Now obviously, I play ECM all the time. You're still going to want to go get that those ECM nodes, but now as far as a if you do or you don't, it's not going to be as big of a hit. To me, ideally, I'd like to see all of this reworked anyways with a potential new skill system / something else. But at least right now, this is a good move, and I think if anything, it puts less emphasis on having to, again, for newer players. Also, even not new players, someone like myself, now you'll have a choice of maybe you don't want to invest all 13 nodes, maybe half of them or something like that. So I'll play around with more, of course, when the patch hits tomorrow. Engine. This patch includes a fix to the XL100 engine weight in order to make it consistent with the rest of the engine lineup with MWO mech construction rule set. And this is XL engine for Clan and IS. Basically it decreases at negative 0.5 tons from 0.5. So I guess I don't really know where that would apply, but sure, okay. I never even thought that was a thing. This patch unlocks the fix active probe on the Mist Lynx Omnimech. This change brings about more possible pod space on this chassis to allow it to utilize its hard points in a much better way. And of course, clan active probe is now unlockable and can be removed from the head component. This is actually an interesting one because I really think what this highlights is that there are rules in BattleTech for Omni-Mechs that lock pieces of equipment in. Well, those pieces of equipment taking up tonnage that doesn't necessarily add any value to the combat. In this case, active probe, where you'd rather just have half a ton or a ton or whatever, whether it's active probe, mask, and so forth, that you get to choose. I think this isn't the first time this is done where they've changed a rule, and of course they're very specific to the mislinks. You could argue the mislinks is competing against the piranha and Arctic cheetah and the flea and so forth and so on, and so it sort of falls behind in the usage. So again, giving some free tonnage here. Another big one here is some gameplay adjustments. Missile hardpoint doors. I'm so glad to talk about this. Missile doors in MWO are not one of the unique features only available on missile doors in MWO are one of the unique features only available on limited number of mechs. Missile doors, when closed, offer extra durability in their associated components by providing a received damage reduction, currently 20%, which, by the way, there's nowhere in the game that tells you that. So if you weren't told that, you would have no idea, and that's, again, information that's never presented in the game to the player. While this is an interesting and useful feature, its implementation leaves quite a bit to be desired. Currently closed mech doors introduce a long firing delay between every trigger press. This is often creates confusion, mostly for new players, and has detrimental effect on gameplay, especially when used with short and medium range missiles, or cases with long range missiles locks can be imminent. A workaround to eliminate this delay is to currently opening the doors manually, which turns off damage reduction effect, and in some cases gives away your mech's position. So let's go break down that really quickly. Basically, some of the mechs used to have doors. Centurion is a good example. It actually used to have left torso bay doors. The problem is when you press the missile bay doors, it takes about a quarter of a second before they pop open. So if you were running like an SRM zombie build back in the day with SRMs and medium lasers, if you didn't open the bay doors, you'd get a delay. So you had to really time. And actually before that, you didn't even have a chance to open them. And there is a little light. And again, this is another thing. Instead of a big light or some other indication on these mechs that we're going to talk about, it's just a mechanic that's never talked about. So this is a welcome change. I think this is fantastic. So in order to make this feature better suited to its purpose, this patch is eliminating the fire delay for missile doors. The missiles will fire immediately after trigger press, and doors will open right away and stay open for a second before going back to closed state. This will maintain the door's protective properties while eliminating the detrimental effect from gameplay. It is noted that during the limited time the doors are open when missiles are being fired, protective effects will be off before doors are closed again. I think this is fantastic. I've wanted this for the longest time because, in my opinion, it was actually a really cool mechanic. It was a really cool feature that, again, going back to, was never really explained and never really worked upon. And instead, a lot of the mechs that did have doors, they basically just got rid of them. So why do I feel this way? Why do I think this is a good change? First off, there's no delay on any of the mechs, i.e. King Crab, with the crab claws. It just fires. Well, the king crab does not have to rely on a lock to be able to deliver damage to its targets. Now you're talking about streaks or SRMs or LRMs or whatever that have to open a door, which, by the way, is never explained to the player. This is a good change. This is a good change, and across the board, I like it. It's a win-win. I think everybody would agree that, like, having that delay, and especially to new players, again, never explained. This is a win, and this to me offers the ability for other mechs maybe down the road, if they do them, to be better designed for them. One thing to note, though, maybe in the future, who knows, is some of the missile bay doors are a little bit weird. And what I mean weird, they're just oddly shaped, i.e. the catapults, they flip up. The archer's entire cover, but instead of doing it like half and half or to the side or whatever, which would have minimized the effect of just having this huge flap up there like a silly thing. But here's the deal. I think this is fantastic. One, new players, they no longer have to worry about it. It's a mechanic that isn't going to be hosing you over. And again, with how much ECM out there right now, plus, again, I can't reiterate, it's not explained to the player. I think this is a good move. So Fantastic. I like that it still retains the damage reduction. I wish that was explained somewhere in the game. Again, 20%, you have no idea where that, there's nothing in the UI. There's nothing that tells you, hey, this mech has, missile flaps. And on the mech like the Kentaro, the unique thing about it is all the other missiles except for the CT don't have flaps. So a lot of people wouldn't even know the dang thing had flaps until they go to do a volley. And for whatever reason, that one missile is always delayed. Well, now you don't have to worry about it. It's still getting the CT protection. And of course, maybe future or retroactively, an artist like Mark Nicholson can go back and fix some of these. I don't know. At the end of the day, I think it's good. Let's see. Faction play conquest mode. Max score has been increased to 1,750 from 1,250. And of course, there are some known issues. We are aware of a few small visual graphical glitches on the new HPG manifold. These should not affect gameplay and will be fixed ASAP. Now, I'm assuming this is in, they're getting ahead of the curve because stuff like Canyon Network, where we had a few floating rocks here or there. And by the way, if you ever see those, make sure to go report them because you never know, maybe you found something new. Yeah. Overall, I think this is going to be a pretty fun patch. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy the quirk pass. Again, a lot of your toys out there got adjusted, even mine. I'll be doing some experimentation out there. It's just a lot of numbers and changes. And of course, they're leaning heavily on utilizing the quirks for balance. And hopefully, maybe in the future, if they do a scale pass, some of those things can be knocked back and they can adjust a few things. But overall, I'm excited for this HPG. I think I'm looking forward to actually wanting to vote for the map. And I've been reading your comments on YouTube, and some of you guys out there are, not happy with this change. You like the original, and I totally get you. So as Darren mentioned in that conversation a few days ago, he said, they're going to be listening, and if there is a community effort, maybe, they add it back in, or maybe they add it to just make sure you can do it in the private lobbies. And if anything, I hope that's the case anyways. It should be added to the private lobbies, like old, HPG or whatever. That way people can play, or leagues can use it if they want. But again, pretty substantial, patch here as far as the individual quirk stuff. I like the addition to the missile. I think that's fantastic. It's been needed to be like that forever. And of course, the other changes that we've talked about as well are, I think, very, very warranted. And I'm ready for the large pulse nerf here, just a bit here. And the ECM, again, that's a pretty big one. ECM, there's so many mechs too out there with it. And again, this sort of leans to, one, my hatred of the skill tree and why is a skill tree affecting a piece of equipment, but game balance, all that stuff. So we'll have to test this out and see what this currently does to a lot of my ninja builds. But anyways, that's it for the patch news. I hope you guys found this informative. If you did, click that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let me know down below. Again, what are your thoughts on the ECM changes? What are your thoughts on the missile bay doors? Did you ever get affected by that, or still get affected by it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you indifferent? Let me know down below in the comments. I just want to say thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this patch notes review. Pretty quick, again, because we had the patch preview last Friday. Yeah, good job, Darren, getting the patch notes. I appreciate it. Guys, we'll see you on the next video. Until next time.